Well, things just continue to get stranger and stranger with that Jane Doe that accused Jay-Z and Diddy of SA. An audio recording has since been released of her talking to private investigators that found her, questioned her about her allegations, to which she speaks out to say that Jay-Z was never involved. Let's get into some pop culture news for today. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. This case started strange and it is still strange, even though the case has been withdrawn from the legal proceedings, never to be filed again. At the original filing of these allegations, remember, Jay-Z was not named. There was an edit or a remand made to the original filing to then go ahead and include Jay-Z, accusing him of SA of that Jane Doe when she was 13 years old. Now, he would have been a participant along with Diddy, allegedly. Now, this would have happened in New York City quite some time ago, and it would have been after the VMAs. Now, what's happening with this Jane Doe is very simple. It's a loss of credibility. At the time that she made her allegations, nobody really saw it for Jay-Z. There was a lot of support. He for sure was not having it, speaking out adamantly and coming after her attorney, which is that Houston-based attorney, Tony Buzzbee. But then there were stories that were parts of her stories that just were not adding up. Then she did that news interview where they talked about the parts of her stories that were not adding up. And she kind of admitted that some of it was a little bit hazy. One of the things that stood out to a lot of people was her saying that, her father came to get her after all of this happened. And then her own dad spoke out and said he does not remember driving to go pick up his 13-year-old daughter. They had lived hours from where she was alleging this happened, and he just does not remember that. I have confirmed for you guys on my TikTok. Make sure that you are a follower there. And if you have not hit subscribe yet, go ahead and do so now. Jay-Z is suing Tony Buzzbee, which is that Jane Doe's attorney. But not only is he suing Tony Buzzbee, he's suing Jane Doe as well. And that is how we got to where we are now. Over the last few weeks, people, according to Jane Doe, showed up at her doorstep and asked her what exactly led to her filing this particular suit. Why did she include Jay-Z? And I have her a response here, and I'm going to play it for you.
Did not assault her.
But Jay-Z you're saying he was definitely there? But he had no part in it, or he was just...
He was there.
He was just there, but he didn't have anything to do with any sexual acts towards you. It was strictly...
Yeah.
The woman is also heard saying her lawyer put her up to suing one of the world's most recognizable stars.
He was the one that kind of pushed me towards going forward with him.
With Jay-Z? Buzzbee did?
Yeah.
Do you know why?
No.
So as you can hear there, according to the conversation that she had with those private investigators, she is still alleging that Jay-Z was there, but is now contending that he had nothing to do with it. In fact, how did Jay-Z get wrapped up in all of this? She's alleging that her attorney forced her to include Jay. So kind of pushed her to make sure his name was added in there. Now, we talked about this on my TikTok. If you're not a subscriber there or a follower there, make sure you find me under the same name. But remember, for Jay to be able to sue her, there had to have been some investigative work done there, because obviously she filed as a Jane Doe. Now, I have to also underscore that this Jane Doe, is contending that she was terrified when these private investigators showed up at her door. Now, of course, Tony Buzzbee has responded, and he has released his own recording, which is his conversation with Jane Doe. Clearly, Tony Buzzbee knew that clip was floating around. Not only has Tony Buzzbee responded, but Jay-Z's attorney has responded as well. So let's first get into Tony Buzzbee's recording, because he does call Jane Doe seemingly and is questioning her about whether or not she's saying these things on a recording. So let's go ahead and get into that.
The accuser's lawyer, Tony Buzzbee, called it a blatant lie that he pushed Jane Doe to sue Jay-Z, and he sent us this recording of a phone call with his client.
They say that they have you on tape denying that Jay-Z assaulted you. Is that true?
No. They don't. I've never said that.
Okay. They also say that you told them, and they have it on tape, that I, Tony Buzzbee, told you to came up with this plan and told you to say that Jay-Z assaulted you so you would get more money.
No.
Jane Doe said ultimately chose not to pursue them. I stand by my claims.
Now, from here, they are going to be speaking directly to Jay-Z's attorney.
Declaration that she felt intimidated and terrified at being confronted by these two individuals on my doorstep. Was she coerced in any way?
Of course not. They did not coerce her, promise or threaten her in any way, shape, or form. She voluntarily met and spoke to them, and she told them her truth, which was, under no circumstances did Mr. Carter do this. And number two, the only reason he's even involved in this is she was pushed to introduce him by a lawyer.
Does your client know Jane Doe?
No.
Ever met her?
No, Mr. Carter doesn't know Jane Doe, never met Jane Doe. There's no truth to any of this.
So it's a very convoluted story. You can see every which way the information is changing. And we always want to make sure, no matter what is going on, that there's always a climate or an opportunity for people to come forward when they are victims of SA. As I mentioned before, what's happening with this Jane Doe is it's just credibility. The statement that she came out with before in regards to her original experience, a limo driver telling her that she was Diddy's type, taking her to this party. They're saying she watched the VMAs on a Jumbotron in Times Square. There were no Jumbotrons at that time. Saying that she drove about 10 or 15 minutes and then she pulled into a circular driveway. But even looking back to when this would have happened, there were no circular driveways 10 to 15 minutes away from Central Park. Then her father came out and said that he never picked her up. And then she did that interview where she admitted that, hey, there may be things that I don't remember regarding that night or who was there, etc. But what happened to me within that room, I do remember. And then ultimately the case was dismissed. Now, Tony Buzzbee can be heard there speaking to the same Jane Doe that told the investigators that Jay-Z was not a part of it, that she never even said that. And so here we are with Jay-Z's attorney saying, no, you heard what she said, and that what she's saying is her truth. At this point, we may never know the truth. But one thing is, when you make this sort of allegation, you want to make sure that you can be as truthful and transparent as possible. Now, that's what I have as the latest. So you have gotten Jane Doe being caught on a conversation with the private investigator saying he was never involved. She was also recorded while speaking to Tony Buzzbee, claiming she never said that at all to anyone. And then we have Jay's attorney, of course, wanting to champion almost the vindication of Jay-Z, which most people have given to him anyway. But I want to know what you guys think. Let's get into it, into the comments. Are you surprised that these recordings are out there? And at this point, do you believe that Jay was involved? Let's get into it.